Dear cadets, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. I hope you all are well at your respective houses during this corona pandemic. You know, we all are facing a serious problem created by COVID-19, yet life must be going on. Your beloved Burshal Care College has arranged online classes for you so that you do not stay behind. I welcome you to my class. Before going to my class, I would like to remind you about some do's and don'ts during this corona pandemic. Wash your hands frequently, use handkerchief or a towel or tissue while sneezing, coughing. Always wear a mask. Do not neglect if you have a high temperature. Do not shake hands and stay away from wild animals. You know me, I'm Bulbul Gaji, your English teacher in Burshal Care College. While preparing this lesson for you, I mainly consulted these books: Collins Scoville English Grammar, Oxford English Grammar, Intermediate English Grammar by Raymond Murphy, Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary, which is a very useful dictionary and user-friendly dictionary. This lesson is prepared for you, class 11 boys, and we will be talking, the unit is right forms of verbs. Look at this picture. What can you see? The roses are beautiful, right? But what about this? A bouquet of yellow roses lent color and fragrance to the room. Is this sentence correct? Look here. A bouquet of yellow roses lends, not lend. Here there is a mistake. So I hope you can understand from this what is the topic of today's lesson, right forms of verbs. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe the appropriate rules of subject-verb agreement, apply the rules of subject-verb agreement appropriately, identify the right form of verbs in different situations, apply the rules of right form of verbs in different situations. This whole lesson is divided into two segments. First one is subject-verb agreement, and another one is right use of verbs. What is subject-verb agreement? The verbs are customarily followed by the subjects. They must agree with the subject according to the number and person. I have been telling you while we were in the class that this relationship is based on purely number and person. Basic rule. A singular subject takes a singular verb, whereas a plural subject takes a plural verb. This is the basic rule. The list of items is such on the desk. If you know that list is the subject, you see in this sentence the subject is list and it is singular. So then you will choose is for the verb. Now the rules. A subject will come before a phrase beginning with of. No, this is a key rule for understanding subjects. The old of is the culprit in many, perhaps most subject-verb mistakes. Here, the example shown earlier, a bouquet of yellow roses lent color and fragrance to the room. A bouquet is a single, so the subject, the verb will be singular. Two singular subjects connected by or, either or neither require a singular verb. My aunt or my uncle is arriving by train today. So here, my aunt or my uncle is arriving. So it's singular. So neither Juan nor Carmen is available. Either Kiana or Casey is helping today with stage decorations. Now, rule number 3. The verb in an or either or neither nor sentence agrees with the noun or pronoun closest to it. Now look here, this is very important. In these sentences with either or neither nor, the verb will always follow the subject that is closest to it. Here, look here. Neither the plates nor the serving bowl goes on the shelf. Okay? Here, serving bowl is a singular subject. That's why it is following and the verb is singular. Look here, neither the serving bowl nor the plates. So here you have plural, so the verb is plural. Remember that the subject, the noun closest to the verb will determine the number of the verb. As a general rule, we use a plural verb with 2 or more subjects when they are connected by and. A car and a bike are my means of transportation. Exceptions. Breaking and entering is against the law. The bed and breakfast are charming. In those sentences, breaking and entering and bed and breakfast are component are giving a single idea. There are many controversies regarding this rule, but we have to follow it. Sometimes the subject is separated from the verb by such words as long as with, as well as, besides, not, etc. These words and phrases are not part of subjects. Ignore them and use a singular verb when the subject is singular. So what does this rule say? Sometimes subject, you may have as well as long as, with, besides, not, etc. Don't be confused while saying this. Look at the examples. The politician along with the newsman is expected shortly. So the politician is the subject. You have to forget about this extension. Parentheses are not part of the subject. This is another rule of this kind. Whatever inside the bracket, it's not part of the subject. So inside parentheses, if any trusty mark was always welcome. No, this will not be counted as the part of subject. In sentences with beginning with here or there, the true subject follows the verb. This is a bit tricky one. Remember this rule. In the sentences beginning with here or there, the true subject follows the verb. There are 4 hurdles to jump. You see, 4 hurdles. There here, the introductory. You have to follow the main true subject. In this sentence, the subject is hurdles. So there are 4 hurdles to jump. There is a high hurdle to jump. Here are the keys. The word there's a now this is another point you should remember. The word there's a contraction of there is leads to bad habits in informal sentences like there's a lot of people here today. Because it's easier to say there's than there are. Take care never to use there's with a plural subject. In this sentence, there's a lot of people. This is the whole sentence. You should write there are a lot of people here today because people are plural. Now, rule number 7. Use a singular verb with distances, periods of time, sums of money, etc. when considered as a unit. 3 miles is too far to walk. 5 years is the maximum sentence for that offense. $10 is a high price to pay. But $10 were scattered on the floor. Remember this, when not considered as a single unit, it may be used as plural. With words that indicate portion, remember, this might be confusing. With words that indicate portions, for example, a lot, a majority, some, all. Rule number 1 given earlier in this section is reversed. We are guided by the noun after of. If the noun after of is singular, this is very important. In those situations, whatever noun you have after of will determine the number of the subject. If it is singular, use a singular. If it is plural, use a plural. A lot of the pie has disappeared. Now, after of, you have pie, and which is singular, so it will be singular. A lot of pie has disappeared. The next sentence, the very next sentence, A lot of pies have disappeared. Now here you have a plural before the verb after of. So the rule says after of, if you have singular, then use singular verb. If you have plural, then you have to use plural verb. So that's why it is plural. A lot of the pies have disappeared. A third of the city, see, third of the city is unemployed. A third of the people are unemployed. When you have plural after of, then the verb will be plural. Remember that this might create confusion, but actually there is no confusion. With collective nouns such as group, jury, family, audience, population, the verb might be singular depending on the writer's intent. All of my family has arrived or have arrived. Most of the jury is here or are here. It's based on how you are presenting the fact. It's totally based on the intent of the writer. Two word were replaces the word were replaces was in sentences that expresses wish or contrary to the fact. Remember, wish sentence, wishful statement, or uh, contrary to the fact. In those sentences, we use were instead of was. If Joe were here, he would be sorry. I wish it were Friday. She requested that he raise his hand. In the first example, a wishful statement, not a fact, is being expressed. Therefore, where, which we usually think of as a plural verb, is used with the singular it. Technically, it is the singular subject of the object clause in the subjunctive mode, it were Friday. Now we're entering into the second part, which is right use of verbs. The verbs are also related to the structure of different sentences and clauses. A clause has only one verb. In fact, a clause cannot contain more than one finite verb, but can have participles, infinitives, and gerunds. Look at this sentence. Swimming is a good exercise to keep your body fit and healthy. Here you have 1, 2, 3 verbs, but main verb or finite verb is one is. So the rest will be not in the main verb form. The connector since has two uses. If since is used to indicate a cause, the verbs of the two clauses will be the same. Remember, if since expresses reason, then in the both clauses you will have the same tense. I didn't go since you didn't come. Since you were busy, I didn't disturb you. The same verb pattern when since expresses reason. But if since is used to indicate time, the verb in the second clause will be different from the first. If since expresses time, then the verb of the second clause will be different from the first one. It has been 20 years since we played football. Look, here, present perfect tense, we are using past tense. 20 years past, simple past, since we had met, past perfect. So the rule is very simple. If you have present tense in the first clause, then you will have to use past indefinite tense in the second clause when since expresses time. If you have past indefinite tense at the first clause, then you have to use past perfect tense in the second clause. No sooner had, hardly had, scarcely had are the adverbials that require a past perfect tense and a past indefinite tense for the sentence. No sooner had I reached home than she left. Scarcely had the police reached when the man died. Hardly had I finished writing, the teacher ordered, before the teacher ordered to stop writing. Now here, not only this, there is another point to notice. That is, each of this structure has built-in extension, like no sooner had, you have to use than. Scarcely had, you have to use when. Hardly had, you have to use before. So try to remember that. Coordinating conjunctions and but or it's and although, though, as, because, till, until, when, whenever, as soon as, while, which, what, that, etc. Connect two clauses which have the same verbs of the same tense. Remember, we went to London when we were young. As soon as I came here, he greeted me. as conjunctions after and before are used to connect two clauses which use past perfect tense and past simple. The perfect tense always comes with the clause of simple past tense. Now, the officer went to walk for he had finished after he had finished his work. Now, the officer had finished his work before he went for a walk. What is to be remembered? Past perfect tense is always we have to use the structure to express which action happened first. So here, after he had finished his work, he finished his work first, then he went for a walk. That's why past perfect tense is here. So he finished his work. So you have in this structure, you have the past perfect form at the beginning. The conjunction list requires a modal should in the following clause, regardless of the tense of the first clause. Remember, lest has a built-in should. Ran faster, lest he should miss the train. Whatever the tense, he will work hard lest he should get fired. He worked hard, past tense, he should, lest he should get fired. Whatever the tense it is, there will be a should. Modals always take the base form of the verbs after them. Now here, these are the modal verbs, can, could, may, might, must. These are the modal verbs. And after that, we always have base form of the verb, regardless of whatever is in the sentence. The clause it is time or it is high time requires a verb in the simple past if there is a clause after it. Now it is time and it is high time. Why do we use this verb? We use this verb, this expression, because to express a situation when the best time for doing something has been over. Now, it is better we start without any more delay. So the structures are shown here. It is high time plus simple past. That means present plus simple past, past plus past perfect. If we use with infinitive, then the structure is different. It is high time you studied attentively. It is time to study attentively the infinitive structure. It was high time we had returned home because perfect tense. So that's it. Now, as if and as though take simple past tense in the following. So the rule is the same like in the previous slide. Simple present, you have past simple. After as if or as the simple past, you have past perfect. And why we use this expression? We use this expression to express unreal situation, which is not true. Robert talks as if he were a prince. He was not actually the prince. Latham played as though he had seen the ball very clearly. I slept as if I had been dead. So past tense, past perfect tense. Present tense, past tense. Prepositions, articles, and possessives are always followed by nouns and gerunds of the verbs. He is keen on moving to California. So after preposition, in most cases, we use ing with the verb. I'm thinking about doing the job. Alex insisted on going out then, but to is the only preposition that takes the base form of the verb. However, some phrases with to being at the end of them, which require the gerund form of the verb. Boys, you know, to, after to, there is always the base form of the verb, but these are the expression. After that, you have to use the gerund form with a view to look forward to, being accustomed to, being used to, admit to, confess to. He went there with a view to confessing his crimes. You see, after to, you have ing. I'm looking forward to meeting the princess. Whatever the situation, after these phrases, you must use ing with the verb. Now, what can be the question type? Here you have the question close test with clues, or like the verbs will be given, you have to use them in this place based on your knowledge. We have covered subject verb agreement, right forms of verbs. Now, if you have any question, please ask through the comment box. I will be there, and you know my number. If you have any queries, please, I'll be very appreciate if you communicate. Now, this is your homework. Please, you do it. And if you have any difficulty, just let me know. I'll be there. Finally, we're at the end of this class. I really appreciate if you remember this. You see, family matters most. Family comes first. But if you go outside, that might be affected by this serious corona. So it is better to stay home for staying safe. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.